Hello, and welcome to Writing 39C Online. I'm Jared McCoy, and I'll be your instructor this summer. Just wanted to take a brief moment to introduce myself in the flesh, since you'll probably be hearing mostly my voice this summer. Let's jump right into Canvas, and I'll start showing you what you need to do for the first few weeks. Hopefully you've all by now had a chance to look around our Canvas site at the syllabus, the modules, the library resources, grades, and your fellow classmates. Those are really the main tabs that we'll be using this summer. The modules page will be our home base, as it provides a list of all the assignments for each week, with due dates, prompts, links, and options for submitting. I've gone ahead and pasted the text of the original email I sent out last week into the Week 1 overview for your reference. I'll post the link to this overview video there as well when I upload it. Here you see all the prompts and links for editing your profile and getting your Anteater's Guide to Writing and Rhetoric. We're mostly focusing on the 39C chapter since this covers the entire course structure, assignments, and all the skills related in detail. Our first assignment is the Historical Conversations project, and you'll find the standard prompt for all 39C classes listed under Week 1. Definitely read this now, but note that I provide my own simplified breakdown of each part of the project in the next week's modules. First, complete the library module, and all of the related quizzes and assignments therein. The most important thing to focus on in the first 2 weeks is formulating your research topic for your HCP proposal. Skipping ahead to the proposal prompt in Week 2, you'll see that you have to define a specific socio-political problem involving a specific technology. I won't require that you focus explicitly on video games. We're going for the more broad concept of virtual worlds here, and you'll see in the introductory readings next week that we also address virtual reality and social network technologies. When I'm talking about specificity here, I mean specificity in relation to a specific social and political group. The topic online gaming by itself is too broad. For your proposal, you would need to find how to formulate a specific form of online gaming that impacts a specific group. Looking at the role of discrimination in World of Warcraft, for example. You also can't just pick social media platforms like Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. This is also too general. You would need to pick a specific aspect of these platforms, like the influence of live video on privacy, or something of that nature. Likewise, virtual reality, or any of the popular VR technologies, need to be narrowed down to specific socio-political problems. The role of VR in the military, for instance, or some other commercial therapeutic uses, the types that we'll see in the readings next week. It's important to understand, though, that you're not going to be able to come up with a specific enough topic until you've done some focused research using the library resources. By the end of next week, you'll submit your first annotated bibliography together with your proposal. For this, you'll need at least 5 sources, and you need to annotate at least 2 of the 5, which should probably be the sources that demonstrate or help formulate your problem. If you have a problem in mind, but you can't find any recent sources to back it up, then it's not going to work for this class. When I say recent, I mean sources after the year 2000. This may sound like a strict requirement, but it will actually help you in the end. Because our topic involves technologies that have evolved and continue to evolve at an exponential rate, problems that may have existed before the year 2000 are largely irrelevant to the problems we face now. This isn't to say that those problems have been solved, only that they have grown so multifaceted and complex that it no longer makes sense to start our research before the explosion of the World Wide Web as we know it. So, just to reiterate, you will not receive any credit for sources before the year 2000. Also note that in the prompt for the first draft itself, you need to provide a variety of different types of evidence, including historical events, various forms of research, graphics, and/or narratives. All of the major assignments like the HCP will need to be posted to your ePortfolio, so let's take a moment to set that up now. It's not the most intuitive process, but it's also not that bad once you get used to it. First, you'll want to click on your avatar in the upper left and select ePortfolio. Then choose the option to create a new portfolio and name it with your first and last name, followed by ePortfolio 39C Online. If you're looking at your ePortfolio on a full-size screen like this, the sidebar should display like this. If the screen is smaller, they may move down to the bottom of the page, so just beware of this. First thing you'll want to do is select Organize Sections and create individual headings for the HCP, the Advocacy Project, or AP, and your Annotated Bibliographies, or ABs. You can delete the Home section and the Welcome page since we won't be using these. Once you click on your newly created section, you can add content pages to it on the right sidebar, or on the bottom sidebar with smaller screens. Click Organize Manage Pages, and then select New Page, and go ahead and create pages for the HCP Proposal, HCP Draft, and HCP Final. If you want, you can also create pages for the upcoming Annotated Bibliography assignments, 6 in total. New pages will typically give you a rich text field by default, where you can copy and paste your text. We'll do this for some assignments like the Annotated Bibliographies, but for formal drafts, you'll want to delete the pane and replace it with a course submission, so that after you submit the assignment on the modules page, you can simply find it here and upload it. We'll do this for the initial reflection next week, so take a moment to create an additional section for your reflection and replace the rich text field with a course submission field. Here's the prompt for the initial reflection, or self-assessment, and you can see that all you'll be doing is uploading a doc or PDF. When it asks for a URL, however, just copy and paste the link to your ePortfolio page. The next order of business is setting up your Hypothesis account, and on the prompt you find the link to the account page, the link to our group, a few FAQs, and another video I created. Once you've set up your Hypothesis account and joined our class group, you may want to create a bookmark for the group page. I personally like to have one-click access to this page and to the modules page in Canvas at all times. This page will give you a feed of all the annotations and research being done in the class. Here you can see I've already created sample annotations for the readings for next week and a couple of additional sources. You'll also be able to access readings through the Modules tab by clicking on the prompt and clicking on the text link. This will load the web page of the text ready for annotation. On the Hypothesis page, you can do this by clicking on the source and then clicking Visit Annotation in Context. This will be extremely useful later on when we all begin to delve into our own specific research topics, giving us the opportunity to browse what everyone else is reading and annotating in one organized feed, and increasing our ability to borrow and discuss sources. When annotating text for this class, you'll always want to post to our Video Games class group, which you select in the upper right-hand menu. If you post to public by mistake, you can always delete it and repost to this class group. The reading prompts for next week will ask you to post one annotation that touches on a potential research topic and respond to one of your classmates' posts. So here in this BOGOS text, I might highlight the concept of serious games and select Annotate. Then I'll type my response in the text box and add a few hashtags about the content being discussed. For our purposes, let's keep all the hashtags lowercase with no spacing between words. When you're done, click Post to Video Games. Then wait for your classmates to post and reply to one of theirs. By the time you finish these first 3 readings and annotations, you'll hopefully be familiar enough with Hypothesis to begin using it in your own research. You need 5 sources total for your first annotated bibliography. You should look at many more sources and only include the most relevant, specific ones. Out of these, you will choose 2 of the most relevant and create a 250-word annotation following the directions in the prompt. Each annotation requires you to quote part of the source that you find most useful. For sources like this article on social media and police surveillance, which I found using the library databases, I can simply highlight the quote I found most useful and annotate it directly, like I did for the homework. For all annotations that you're creating for your annotated bibliography, please include the tag AB1 for the first annotated bibliography, and AB2, AB3, AB4, so on and so forth for the next ones. If you'd like to use Hypothesis to record all of your notes this quarter, without necessarily sharing them with the class feed, just choose Post to Only Me. This will enable you to annotate all digital text as you read, and then go back and change the most meaningful notes into your official posts when you're done. Many sources probably won't be available in full eText version. PDF copies of journal articles, for instance. To include these sources in your bibliography, you want to choose the Page Note option instead of the Highlight Annotation option. You'll get the same text pane and tag field as before. The only real difference is that you'll need to type out the quotations from the PDF manually, if it's one of the 2 of the 5 sources you're choosing to annotate. Note the difference here between the page notes and annotations. They're very similar, but annotations are linked to specific highlights, which you won't be able to use for PDFs. So once again, for full eText, use annotations and highlight your quotes, but for PDFs, use page notes and handwrite the quotes as part of your evaluation. Once you've gotten your 5 main sources and written your 2 evaluations, find the little share button on each of your posts and copy the direct link so that you can paste it into your first annotated bibliography page in your ePortfolio. For some reason this page has no text box, so I'll just click Edit and add one. Actually, before I paste my hypothesis link, I want to enter the MLA formatted citation. There are numerous websites you can use to automatically format MLA citations, but it's actually easier to copy the formatted citation from the database itself. This article from JSTOR gives me the option to copy the citation directly. So now that I've done that, I'll copy my hypothesis link and then hyperlink it to the text of my citation by choosing Link to URL and then pasting the hypothesis link. That way, my annotated bibliography becomes instantly accessible and redirects me to the specific annotations with a single click. That pretty much covers everything for the first couple of weeks, so please email if you have any questions or chat with me during office hours, which I'll say more about in an announcement soon.